Brother Uy, freeze again.
Okay.
I just want to add something, Brother Uy. I like your, but I think the truth is basically it's not belong to anyone. If I can, no one can claim I'm right and you're wrong in that sense. Something that we continuously share, and find that truth. To me, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's why I started with that. In Buddhism, that's why we are not concerned about what religion you are. We're more concerned of, are you a good person?
Correct.
More than are you a Buddhist, or are you a Muslim? Are you a Christian? Are you a Hindu? That is irrelevant. The most important thing is, with your religion that you are practicing, does it make you a better person and a person who positively influence the society and help the society? That is the most important aspect of our practice.
Okay. You want to continue from Israel, or are you done?
I actually have a
okay.
Like again,
Okay, go on.
Okay, let me go to aspect of Buddhism. Okay, can you all see the slide now?
Not yet. Okay, now I can.
Okay, one of the things that you find in Buddhism, we talk about, like in the video just now, it stated that life is suffering. The translation is actually a bit bad, because it seems to be like Buddhism is very negative. The Buddha used the word dukkha, but it is not so much about suffering, but he says that in life, as long as we are born, there will be unsatisfactoriness. The more correct word, more accurate word is, there is unsatisfactoriness in life. So dukkha, although most people translate as suffering, basically it means that in life there will be elements of unsatisfactoriness. And why are there these unsatisfactoriness? All right. For example, I've shown the picture over here. When you're born,
Okay.
One day we will die. So that is the truth, that regardless of what you believe, you will have to pass through. Brother To, would you like to add from there? Since my line is not very good.
Okay. This is the four signs that during Buddha's life, before he was the Buddha, during his life as a Prince Siddhartha, he actually went out. This is a real story. He went out through the four different directions from the palace, and he saw the four signs. So back to here, all of us actually go through the process of life. We are born, we may get sick, we will get old, and eventually we will pass away. Okay, by the way.
Okay, so now let's go back. That is the first truth. Now the second truth, or do we experience this? Okay, why we have this unsatisfactoriness in life? So he actually named three. The Buddha said there are three. One is there is desire. Although many books translate it as greed, but the base thing is desire. The second reason why we have suffering or unsatisfactoriness, because there is what is known as aversion, or many books literally translate as hatred. Not very good, a very strong term, but it's more of things that we dislike. And the third one is delusion, meaning like we have wrong ideas about what is life, what is happiness. For example, we are now very materialistic. We think the more money we have, the happier we'll become. Or if we do certain things, we will become rich, or we will become happy. We look at happiness outside rather than to look for happiness inside. Of course, meaning to say that, well, in life there is unsatisfactoriness, there is suffering. But in Buddhism, we have this very strong point in saying that although there are things that may cause us to suffer, actually, we don't have to suffer. And there is a hope of reducing, or at least, if not getting rid of, at least reduce this dukkha. And of course, the fourth is the way to overcome dukkha, that is the Noble Eightfold Path. So these are the basic teachings. And although this teaching seems simple, it is very, very difficult for us to realize. We can talk about it very intellectually, but to realize the idea of, hey, my life is good, what do you mean I'm suffering? It doesn't seem to work the way, because we see life has been good to us. So what is there to talk about suffering? So these are the four basic things. And of course, I like to go to the Noble Eightfold.
Okay, Dr. Oi.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the Noble Eightfold Path can be divided into three categories, which is shown on the slide, which is the Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Sila means morality, what we do to have a right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Over here, you can see on the slide also there are 5 precepts. These are the basic moral or ethical conduct, which is actually followed by most of the layperson as a Buddhist, which is no harming of other living beings' life, not taking what is not given, and no false speech, including lying, and of course, no sexual misconduct. Sexual misconduct over here means if you are married, then you don't have the sexual activity with other than who you are married to. And of course, the intoxicants in Buddhism, most of the Buddhists actually, if they follow the 5 precepts, they don't take alcohol or drugs, which will cause heedlessness. And then on the second part is the right mindfulness and concentration. This is more on the mind training in the sense. And of course, the last portion will be the wisdom with the right understanding and right thought. Back to you, Brother Wing.
I'd like to emphasize a little bit over here. When we look at the 5 precepts, we must understand that in Buddhism, the 5 precepts are not commandments. For example, when we say no killing, it is written actually as I take the training of not taking lives. So some people may say, what do you mean you don't kill? What about mosquitoes? What about termites, right? And things like that. The idea is, so that's why we have the antidote for the first precept is actually loving kindness, metta, and karuna. And if we practice more and more, we find that we will have less and less desire to even kill insects. For example, if we are into meditation, for example, and we become more mindful. So when even the mosquito lands on us, we don't react and slap on the mosquito. Most of us who are conscious about it, we actually chase the mosquito away by a gentle blow. It becomes a habit to us rather than to hit the hand and say, oh, you died. We will gently blow it away. Of course, these are very small acts, but the main thing is it is a training. Even like non-stealing, even gambling is considered as breaking the second precept because you are taking things in the non-correct way. Of course, lying over here, it comes under right speech, and we have 4 categories of rights.
The who is always breaking.
Yeah.
If don't mind if I ask question.
Sure, go ahead, please.
Okay, one thing that like probably like myself as a Muslim or probably a Christian. So how do you decide on morality? If you don't have the concept of God, so what is right and what is wrong? So who decides that?
Brother To, would you like to?
Okay. Actually, when we talk about morality, it don't need to talk about all this philosophy or even commandment or rules. It can be very simple. We just do a simple check. First, is it beneficial for yourself? Second, is it beneficial for others? So, for example, we take gambling as an example. It could be hobby, I go gamble. although if you look at it literally in the 5 precepts, it actually never say anything about gambling. But if you look at it from the understanding point of view is, when you go for gambling, definitely it's not a win-win situation anymore. It could be you win, some people lost, or somebody else win and you actually lose. So when you check with this, then you know actually it's not something really good for you to do. In another example is smoking. Smoking, when you check, is it beneficial for myself? Is it beneficial for others? Actually, it's not. And in a lot of the advertisement from even our government, all this also you can see nowadays the cigarette pack outside, all the pictures shown there is actually to remind you.
So how about like sexual misconduct? If they are mutually agreeable to each other. I mean, they're grown adults. No one is forcing them to.
Okay, this one is very interesting question. Now, you mean sex before marriage, right?
Yeah, you can say that, or even sex between LGBT, between man and man, woman and woman, whatever. I mean, they can argue this is consensual. There's one forcing us to do that act.
Okay, looks like this one is leading to the Father Oi's topic at LBGT. Maybe Father Oi, you would like to take it first?
Okay, I hope my line doesn't break. You see, in Buddhism, what is important is, does the action, like what Brother To says, bring about harmful results to you and to others? So the question of sex over here, whether it's sexual activity before marriage or not, Buddhism does not say very clearly in the sense of, like, I believe in Islam and in Christianity, marriage is sacred. But in Buddhism, marriage is a social activity. Now the question over here, or does it conduct or contribute to akusala karma, meaning is it a wise action or an unwise action? Like Brother To has mentioned just now, through the activity, does it bring harm to you? Now, and more important also, there's another one, does it bring harm to others? For example, let's say your family are very strict religious people and you're involved in lesbianism. There are two issues over here. Number one, it will definitely bring shame to your family, meaning it has sort of like harmed your family already. Number two, if you yourself are involved in LGBT, in lesbianism or homosexuality, all right, you are also actually increasing your sensual desire, which is something in Buddhism we try to reduce. So if let's say we look from this point of view, it is negative. Even if let's say both of them agree, let's say they are homosexual, is it good? So again, in Buddhism, there is no, no God to punish you. But there is the law of karma. And the law of karma works on a very important thing, intention. So that's why we call it volitional action, meaning your intent of your activity. So if it is negative, you will face the law of karma, regardless of whether you believe or not.
Okay,
so what we are trying to...
let's make a very simple analogy of say men and women, they are married. They say if they are registered, they are married. Probably if they get divorced, it'll be more harm to me because I have to pay so many compensation and whatnot.
Yeah.
Rather we get together, we got kids and they're happy. They got nice car, nice house, and everything. There's nothing to work. So is that how that you said no? No. Are you saying that they have to register to get married per se, or can they just, as long as they are both of them okay, they just get along? Or how do you see that?
Let's look at it from the context of society. All right. Now, if let's say you stay together without marriage, in Buddhism, marriage is not sacred. Let's say in Buddhism, if you are both adults, you do not depend on your parents for living, you are responsible adults and you decide to stay together without registering a marriage. Okay, in Buddhism, that is fine, but you have another problem over here. What happened to your kids? If let's say one of you divorce, all right, you decide to divorce. So what will happen to your kids? You find that there will be problems arising from that action you have taken. So in order to safeguard this, the society has a law, and that law is actually to protect you. Therefore, it is also wise, that's why we call it kusala karma, for you to register to get married, rather than to say, hey, we are happy to stay together. But look at the harm.
The third way line is not so good.
Okay, I mean, the thing is it a wise decision to cohabit? And then if later you have problems, who is going to tackle them? So your consequence of cohabiting, although you are agreeable to it, but it will cause a lot of negative impact on the children if there's a divorce case. So you are actually doing something unwise. So in Buddhism, it is something not wise to do, even though it is not a sin to do it. So if you look at it from that point of view, then you better get married and registered properly rather than to cohabit, because it is the right thing, the wise thing. This is what we see it as. It's the right thing to do rather than it is compulsory to do.
All right. Never mind. Okay, we can just discuss because, sorry, this one probably we are jumping because what is the aim of, say, being a Buddhist? You lead your life, you know, following the noble eightfold path, you know, for you to achieve nirvana or break from the, you know, constant rebirth, you know.
Yes.
Correct. But I think the Theravada is not saying about Mahayana, but for them to achieve that is they have to basically they have to be a monk, celibacy. They celibate. They don't get married. So how do you see that for you really to achieve your goal of Buddhism, Dr. Wei?
Okay, let me go. Now, to be a monk is not compulsory.
Yeah.
To achieve nirvana. In fact, if you look at the Buddha's history, if you look at the Buddhist texts, there are lay people who actually achieve nirvana. So it's not something that is only possible for monks or to be a celibate. But what it means over here is that if you become a monk, you have less worldly things to worry about. Therefore, it is easier for you to be concentrate. It's easier for you to live a right livelihood. It's easier for you to be achieve nirvana. You must be a monk, but it is easier. That's all.
Okay, it is not like even in the Four Noble Truths. What the Four Noble Truths? One of them is basically said desire. Is it not desire for woman? It's also attachment to this worldly life, you know.
Yes, definitely.
As long as you have that, you know.
Yes, definitely. So that's why there are monks that after a while they disrobe because their sensual desire is stronger than the desire to go to the spiritual path. So they actually disrobe and become a normal person back. So the sexual desire actually is very, very strong in human lives. That's why it is one of the things that we have to be very, very careful about. Brother, so would you like to add to that?
Yeah, so the monk is actually someone that they realize and they see the benefit of the cultivation of Buddha's teaching. So they choose to spend more time and maybe full time in the spiritual cultivation. But for a normal person like all of us, that's why if you look at the precepts for the lay person, there's only 5 as a guiding ethical or moral conduct. Whereas for monks, actually, they have a lot more so-called monastic rules to follow. So for us, nasi lemak, rojak, all this still very nice. Even all this, we can become something that we would like to have more. Of course, sexual activity is another drive that will actually not easy to handle. Yeah, Brother Owen?
Yeah, Brother Eddie also adds up. He wrote quite a long. He said even your like Brother to say even desire for food, that also desire. For you to makan nasi lemak macam you cakap McDonald, So you still have that clinging to this world, If you
Yes.
still have this clinging to this world, you'll never get that nirvana. You'll be in constant reverse, So you will get that the ultimate goal of a Buddhist, which is to attain.
The thing is, we have to admit that in our path, because we are not perfect, we are going through different stages. But if you practice it, you will find that your desire for things will become less and less. I'd like to share with you this particular slide. Can you let me?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Go to it. Huh?
Yeah, we're going. Sorry. Finish your slide first, then we talk.
Okay, this one. I'd like to share with you. Do you know who this person is?
Okay, Ananda Christian, is it?
Yes, Ananda Christian is one of the richest guy, third richest guy in Malaysia. All right, and he's the boss of Nexus, Astro, TVG, Simna. I'd like to show you another. This person is, this person, is actually Ananda Krishnan's son.
Okay.
His only son. Now, you have basically a multi-millionaire with the only child, the only son, and the son decided to become a monk, leaving all the riches in the world. So the question is, people always ask him, why did you leave all this material world? So his answer is very simple. I've been rich, I got everything I want in this life, but I cannot find true happiness. Therefore, he decided to learn Buddhism and later decided to become a monk. And now he's living as a beggar, but he's very, very happy. But not all of us can do that. So we cannot say that because you still have desire, you cannot be a good Buddhist. It's more like we are learning to let go. When we let go, we're bad Buddhist. But it just makes us as we are still learning and trying to reduce desire. Not that we totally can eliminate it, not yet. So to us, it's not, can I achieve it in this lifetime? Because in Buddhism, we believe in rebirth. So if I don't achieve it in this lifetime, I will continue to strive until one day I achieve it and I become enlightened. Brother To, would you like to add?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe a lot of people will just like what Brother Ui shared just now. A rich guy's son, why he don't find the happiness in maybe materially, whatever he would like to have, he can have it. So similarly with Prince Siddhartha Gautama, our Buddha, before he achieved the enlightenment, a lot of people also may have this type of misconception, why he because of selfishness he left the wife and the son, but actually it's not. His wife actually did not accuse him of desertion when she realized the purpose of his renunciation. Instead, she gave up the luxurious life to lead a simple life as a mark of respect. So on this point, actually, all of us want happiness. Even at this moment, I think some of us on our seat, we may be still adjusting our posture just to get that little happiness, right? But most of the time, we mistakenly associate happiness with possession or something material. If I have a new car, I'll be happy. If I have a new job, I'll be happy. Or maybe if I have a bigger house, then I'll be happy. But the truth is, the less we have or live a simple life, contentment and simple life, we will be happy. Just to share a bit of, this is actually proven through the scientific research done by Professor Dr. Richard Davison in University of Wisconsin, Madison, US. Dr. Davison is actually a professor of psychology and psychiatry. His research is actually broadly focused on the neural base of emotion and emotional style, as well as the method to meditation and related contemplative practice, which a lot of the Buddhists practicing what we call meditation or the mindful awareness. So a series of his scientific research on the brain actually found that the regular meditators are much happier than others. It is actually not the material of the session that make us happy.
All right, thank you, Brother To. Dr. Wee, you got anything to share?
Yeah, concerning what Brother To has mentioned about what do you call that, the research done by Dr. Harrison, maybe I like a little bit. Let me see whether I can find it or not. Oh, I don't have Matthew Ricard over here. Okay, yes, I found it. All right, let me share this particular slide with you all. Okay, just give me a moment. Share screen again. All right, let me see where is Matthew Ricard. Okay, over here. Let me share this. Okay, can you see this? This is what Brother To's research that he mentioned, Richard Davison. This is Matthew Ricard. It's very interesting because Matthew Ricard was almost a Nobel Prize winner for his research in chemistry, if I'm not mistaken, biochemistry. At the moment he almost got the Nobel Prize, he became a monk. And they did a 12-year study on him and also on other monks. And they found that those monks who are under meditation, regardless of the condition they have created, they are actually the Dalai Lama emphasized a lot. He says that instead of talking about religion, why don't you prove that what religion mentioned to be true? So the Dalai Lama actually encouraged scientists to prove whatever is said in Buddhism or any other religion, and to show that what the religious teachers teach is true through scientific means, and then take away the label of religion and say, well, if you do meditation, this is the benefit. If you practice kindness, this is the benefit. If you practice compassion, this is the benefit. Taking away the label of this is from Buddhism, this is from Hinduism, this is from Islam, this is from Christianity. This is what actually Buddhism is trying to do, to say that proof, and this is what the Buddha actually mentioned in the Kalamata Sutta, test it, prove it before you accept it. That is, if we say this is what is going to happen, can you prove that it is true?
All right. Okay, brother. Oh, doctor is always breaking.
Okay.
Okay. That's good. But you know, even some people they can also argue, I've proven something. Say my religion is correct. This is the truth. You know, they can claim. How we know that the truth is the truth? You know, you get me. This is from your own perspective. You know, some other people might see different perspective. You know,
correct.
Some other people say I've been contacted with alien. You know, I think there is many cults in the US. You know, I've watched many of them. You know, they say something, actually life is like this, you know, I've seen my previous life, I've seen the future. So it's also breed new kind of religion. And
you see, the thing is this, like the Buddha says, we can argue all we want about truth. But the Buddha's contention is, regardless of how we argue, there is no end to the argument. So the Buddha actually gave an analogy that if, let's say, a person is shot by a poison arrow, what is the most important thing to do? To take away the poison arrow and to kill.
Yeah. Correct.
I want to know who shot the arrow. I want to know what is the arrow made of. I want to know where is the poison from. I want to know what is the bow of the arrow made of. By the time he knows all these things, he will be dead. So what the Buddha is trying to say is that instead of arguing about whether God exists, whether this is true or not, he says we worry about what is in front of us, dukkha. like birth and death and sickness. We deal with these things. All of us, regardless of religion, we want happiness. It's only whether it's happiness on earth or happiness after we die. For example, I believe the Christians and the Muslims believe that when you die, you go to heaven. So your happiness is actually the pure permanent happiness is in heaven. But for Buddhism, heaven is also on earth. So instead of worrying about is there God, the question is
Doctor, okay, Doctor is
can we
also
overcome our anger? Can we overcome our desire? That is more important than to know whether this is the truth or not, because the truth is basically we are all experiencing unsatisfactoriness. The truth is all of us have desire, all of us have hatred, all of us can be impatient. These are the things that we need to get rid of rather than to talk about how do I know it is true or not.
All right.
Because in Buddhism, as long as you practice all this, the effect, like Brother To says, will come to you. So when it becomes experiential, then you will realize whether it's correct or not. One of the analogy I like to give is this. Let's say now I'm holding with my fist, okay? In my fist, I say, I have 20 cents in my right hand fist. Will you believe me? If I say I have 20 cents on my right hand fist, will you believe?
Maybe I give you the benefit of the doubt. I trust you.
Because you think I'm a good person.
Yeah, good person. Yeah.
You believe that I won't lie.
Yeah.
Therefore, you will say, yeah, Brother Ui is a nice person. Probably he's a good Buddhist. He doesn't lie. So if he says there's 20 cents there, it's there. So your belief that I'm telling the truth is based on faith, on your knowledge and your experience with me. But you will never know whether I'm true or not unless I open my hands.
Correct.
Then whether you can see. So in Buddhism, it's like that. I can tell you something based on faith. You believe me based on faith. But the faith must be changed into knowledge and experience. That is the most important. So whether the thing is true or not come from knowledge. First is faith, then is knowledge, is experience. And then once it's you experience it yourself, it is you own that knowledge. It's no longer somebody tells you. That is the most important thing.
Please, okay, thank you. Okay, there are many things I want to to at least to betulkan. There's some common misconception which is among even the Muslim himself. Man, I think Buddha also have the same problem. And they don't really know their own religion. You know.
Correct.
Even in Islam, of course, we also know that the salvation is heaven and hell. You know, but actually, those who really before they get heaven, those who living in this world, they will get their own heaven. They call it Janatul Ajila. Basically, is the syurga yang disegerakan, or I don't know. But basically, that's mean of peace. You know? You have peace in you. Say salam mean kalau in Islam, you say peace. So you have that peace, contentment in life. In you know, basically whatever that you're saying, whether that there is a God, if there is heaven or hell, like you said, we never know until we die. Until everyone dies. If there is one, there is one. If there is not, it's okay. Like you said, what important is we do the good things here. That's what like you said, we can argue until forever. You still with yours, I'm still with mine. No one can say that I'm right, you're wrong. But at the end of the day, we will see, you know, whether we can really, you know, walk the talk, do the good thing and stuff like that.
Correct.
I mean, that's the more important thing. But to correct whether in Islam, actually the peace actually you have now. The contentment, whatever the actions that you do, you walk your talk. So that's the thing. And later on, if there is life after death, if there is heaven, you will get that for eternity. That's probably the concept of nirvana in Buddhism, that we, I know, there is no that recycle. Of course, another thing is that I want to, probably we were talking about truths and whatnot. Yeah, do you discover the truth? So some people sort of say, I've discovered the truth. I've experimented that thing, you know. There's some evidence to that, you know. And they claim that, I don't know, I have that peace in me. You know? They say God is talking to me. Some people claim. You know? So how do you prove that? No, we don't prove that. You know?
Yes.
The worst thing is basically if that people, you know, to me, I have the problem of people, probably ego, people are selfish, There are plenty of them nowadays, Probably they're clinging to the world as well, They just lead your own life. And especially about moral, Who are you? If you are the product of chance, there is no God, I basically can do anything as long as it benefits me. Correct, no? So if I still get more money, I'm so powerful, but then some politicians, some warlord are very powerful. They are, even some people in the past from the history, they claim to be God, like the emperor, whatnot, In fact, they also want to live for eternity. I think the first emperor of China,
Yes,
they're looking for, they're looking for that Mercury or whatnot until he died because of the thing. Because so powerful, there's nothing more that he wants to achieve in his life, So he wants to live forever with all the wealth that they have. so I mean, that's the kind of thing that we are discussing. Okay, sorry. The point is we can never need the truth. And in Islam, actually, if you really you already got the heaven before you get the heaven after you die, if there is one. That only you know after you die. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Brother Tok, would you like to add in anything?